Hey friends, let's talk florals. Are you a lover of florals or do you despise them or are you somewhere in the middle? This girl happens to be a floral lover, but I gotta be honest about the kinds of florals that I like, not the super heavy vintagey ones. I have appreciation for those. I don't think you'll see any of those in this video today. So I do like to sniff them, but I don't know that I like to wear them all the time. An example of that would be something in the neighborhood of organza. One of those florals that's just super heavy, super heady. I do have some heady florals, but that one, you have to really be in the mood to wear. It's beautiful, it's elegant, but it's not a daily wear kind of floral for me. So, and then some people dislike florals because it gives them a headache. They just have an adverse reaction. And then some people may not like florals because they associate florals as something that more mature women wear, especially if they're on the younger side and they just don't want to associate themselves with that kind of memory that they have of the mothers, grandmothers, older aunts in their families smelling heavily floral. So let us know before we get started in the comments, where do you land? And if you're just here to hang out because you're just not a florals person. If you are a florals person, in the comments, I want to hear your very top recommendation that you think all of our friends here in YouTube Fragcom should try out, because that's what this video is about. I'm going to share with you a small number of fragrances that I think you should probably just get your nose on, even if you decide you don't like them. They're a great reference point, and it gives you sort of a feeling of florals across the spectrum of floral categories. I'm no fragrance expert. I'm an enthusiast, probably just like you. So I'm sharing with you some from my collection that fall into that must-try category. I don't own all of these currently. There are a couple of these that I have owned in the past and have passed along, and I'll share with you why, but I still think they are worth getting your nose on. I'll also share that in putting together the list of this video, realized that I still have 8,763 tuberose forward fragrances. And for that reason, I'm going to be filming a separate tuberose video, maybe a part 1 and a part 2 for my tuberose loving friends, since I couldn't fit them all. And when it comes to tuberose, I have a hard time saying no, and I have a hard time deciding which would go in a video or stay out, because I really, 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 really love that note. But let's jump into these must-try florals. A floral that comes in a gorgeous bottle and I think presents a very classic, feminine, timeless kind of smell across all ages is Christian Dior Pure Poison. Now, if you were around in I think it was late 80s into the 90s, you know that the original that this is based on, this is a flanker, the original Dior Poison was a bomb of a fragrance. It's been reformulated and is a little bit different. This is a more gentle flanker. I really do think this bottle is probably one of or among the prettiest, at least, in my collection. This is one of those fragrances that you wear when you want to smell elegant, fresh, and clean, and have a floral touch. The dominant florals in here are white florals, jasmine and magnolia. It also has some nice citruses, which give this fragrance a little bit of playfulness. I wouldn't say this is a citrus fragrance. I would say the citrus notes give this fragrance a little bit of brightness. At the same time, it's anchored by a lovely soft sandalwood and cedar note, and there's a touch of muskiness to this as well. So a lot of people consider this to be a clean floral that's an easy wear. I will share that this is a rather long-lasting fragrance. You can put this on in the morning and it's going to take you through the day. You may not smell it anymore, but others can smell it on you. And a little bit goes a long way with this beauty. A couple sprays, 3, 4 sprays if you want to be bold. And it's got you. It's got your back. So it's hard to go wrong with this. And I think this is a universally appealing floral that a lot of other people around you would really enjoy and not find heavy or cloying. Okay, so let's move on. But this I really wanted to start off with as a universally beautiful floral for any age group, any season in particular would probably shine in the spring and in the fall. Maybe is a little bit thicker in the summer, but is okay, totally okay, and definitely performs beautifully in the winter as well. So this is that versatile all-around floral fragrance. Sticking then still on the lighter side of universally appealing florals, a must-try, although I will share with you this is not the longest lasting, like Pure Poison will take you through the day. This one is about a half a day fragrance, maybe 3-ish hours, depends on your conditions, your skin, and how it absorbs the fragrance and is moisturized, and all of those fun factors that can alter or affect the performance of a fragrance. This is Maison Margiela Flower Market. When I tell you that this smells like a fresh bouquet, It's that scent that you have when you walk into a flower shop and everything smells fresh, like when you open the refrigerator in a flower shop and examine all of the bouquets that they have available, all of the flower types. This is it in a bottle. And for that, this gets a strong place in this must try florals video. It's elegant in that way and beautiful and soft and subtle. And it has some greenness to it, just like a flower shop does. I'm not talking about the freshly cut grass type of greenness. I'm talking about fresh flowers green. It has a number of different types of florals. It does have tuberose and jasmine and rose and freesia. Freesia tends to be a more fresh, crisp smelling floral. So it's a combination of all of those, along with some greenness and a little touch of woodiness to give it a little bit of base, if you will. My only gripe is it is not the longest lasting. So keep that in mind, one that you would need to re-up. I had a travel spray and fell in love with that, although I was irritated about the performance. And when I found this, I think it was on jomashop.com, really inexpensive. I believe it was in between the $60 and $70 range. These bottles typically go for, I think it's about 130 retail, 130 US dollars retail. I had to snag this bottle up. So anyway, Flower Shop is probably, in my opinion, one of the most realistic, photorealistic florals that's out on the market. Worth getting your nose on. A relatively hidden gem that I stumbled upon in TJ Maxx a number of years ago, and I took a chance and I'm glad I did. I fell in love with this. It's Shanghai Tang from, I'm sorry, it's not Shanghai Tang. It's called Black Iris from Shanghai Tang. Love this bottle. I should probably get this top part shined up uh, as it started to tarnish. But this is one of the most unique fragrances that I've laid my nose on. This is another tuberose jasmine combination. Now, as far as I can tell, it doesn't have any rice notes listed, but I almost detect something like a sticky rice note here. There's green tea, and maybe it's the green tea that's translating to me as a sticky rice note. I don't know, but I really enjoy it, almost like the steam that comes up off of rice when you're cooking it, mixed with those florals. It's definitely a floral fragrance. It opens one way and settles down another, which I find really interesting. The fragrance transforms on you from open to finish. It definitely has a pronounced black iris note, or iris in general, something that's a little bit colder to balance out the warmth from the florals. There's vanilla. So as this dries down, it gets a little bit sort of creamier and sweeter on the dry down. The opening is incredibly interesting, and the dry down is a very comfortable floral sweet smell. Unique fragrance. If you see this somewhere, pick it up. I don't know where you can find this or if it's discontinued, but I'm a believer in showing fragrances that are worth showing on my channel, even if they're discontinued, because you can always hunt down a fragrance on Mercari, on eBay. Sometimes these show up on discount sites. So if you're persistent and continue to look, you eventually come across a bottle. And this is one that I think is absolutely worth picking up if you find it. And I think I at TJ Maxx found this in somewhere between the $30 to $50 range. And so I imagine it would be similar on discount sites and so forth. Fabulous fragrance and one of a kind. I have nothing else like it in my collection. The next fragrance I don't have to share with you, and I'll tell you why. It's from Chanel and it's Gabrielle Essence. Absolutely gorgeous fragrance. Smells really, really beautiful. It has a mix of white and yellow florals with jasmine, ylang-ylang, tuberose, orange flower, and is a bright, sort of zesty floral. It has some citruses in there, if I'm not mistaken, also. And I really enjoyed this fragrance, but found that it faded on me quickly. I'm not sure why. I still think this is a gorgeous fragrance, and I know a number of people out here who have it who feel like it lasts a really long time on them. So I don't know what it is about me that it didn't last on me, or maybe it was one of those smells that I just went nose blind to over time and didn't even realize it. But it is a lovely fragrance and is sort of a point of reference for beautiful florals. So I would absolutely say get your nose on it, get a sample of it, see if it works for you, try it out if you're ever near a Chanel counter. I also want to ask the audience here, have you tried just regular Gabrielle, not the Essence version, the regular one? If so, what do you think? And I believe there's also a Parfum concentration that runs you upwards of $300 and $350 US range that I'm really interested to try out, but I think you get a small amount for that. I think it's an ounce or an ounce and a half, 1.7 ounces, something like that for the more expensive Parfum concentration, which if it's everything that Chanel Gabrielle Essence is, even more concentrated and long lasting, I might be here to pay full retail price on that. Let me just say that. But I'd be interested to hear if any of you have it and have tried it. Let me know. I think that Ulta carries the Parfum version, and then obviously you can shop on the Chanel site and other retail sites that carry the Chanel line. But Gabrielle Essence is gorgeous, and I would suggest trying it out to see if it's something that works for you if you are a floral lover. Really fantastic fragrance. So we're going to be easing our way into heavier floral territory. So Gabrielle is sort of an in-between, or Gabrielle Essence rather, is sort of an in-between. It's neither light nor heavy. It's kind of right in the middle. And I would say the same is true of this beauty here. This is Amouage Honor. Well, I am just loving the Amouage bottles. I've shared with you my Amouage journey, the fact that I've tried many of them thanks to some generous friends on YouTube who have sent me some decants. And it took me a while to warm up to Amouage fragrances. Each one is a little bit of a masterpiece, if you will, in its own way. A work of art maybe is a better description than masterpiece for each one. And it can be really difficult to get to know them. There are some that are a little bit easier and more mass appealing than others. This is one, and then you'll see another in my tuberose video. First of all, the bottles are just magnificent, but we're not here to talk about bottles. I just love the shape of them, really pretty. Anyway, this is a white floral beauty. I consider this to be a structured white floral fragrance where you will feel crisp and put together, but it's not stuffy, which I think is a difficult thing to pair up. So here you have the trifecta of white florals. You have gardenia, jasmine, tuberose. It also has lily of the valley. It has carnation. So it's this amalgam of beautiful white florals together. And it has this airiness about it while still having stature and substance that I think makes this one of the most elegant white florals on the market, a very easy wear, and I think mass appealing. This is one of those fragrances that's going to make you feel like a beautiful, elegant woman that has your life together, or gentleman. I can imagine this on a man smelling just fabulous. Really, really beautiful. I could see this being appropriate for numerous occasions, including being a beautiful wedding scent, something you wear to the office, something you wear to evening affairs, and sort of every day. Like, this could be very much a special occasion or everyday fragrance. It's beautiful and structured enough for formal events, but also casual and warm enough to be worn day to day, and not one that's going to offend anyone, but is absolutely gorgeous. And I love that it has just some hints of spice and other heavier notes like amber and so forth in the base, so that it's not a totally light, airy, ungrounded fragrance. It hovers in the air and in such a lovely way. So get your nose on Amouage Honor. So from here on out, the fragrances that I'm going to share are really on the heavier side, and some might consider to be cloying. And if you're not familiar with the term cloying, it means that the fragrance can be so heavy and dense as to overwhelm people and become like sickening or annoying. I don't find any of these to be that. There is one that if you spray too much, it probably will be, but I think these are all perfectly lovely wearable fragrances. So one that maybe is not a summertime fragrance, but certainly can be rocked heavily in the spring up until those like super sticky temperatures. You can wear it in the summer too if you're like me and just don't care and wear whatever you want. And absolutely a year-round fragrance in terms of being spring, fall, and winter appropriate. It is Tom Ford's Velvet Orchid. Beautiful purple bottle. What I love about this fragrance, it has the fantasy note of orchid, which in this composition comes across to me a little bit as like a very deep grape juice kind of scent. And it's accompanied by very, very sweet honey and a little booziness from some rum. It has vanilla, but the floral aspects of this fragrance come through loud and clear on it. There are a host of other accompanying floral notes to round out this fragrance, including hints of rose, heliotrope, magnolia, orange blossom, and others. And it has a depth from myrrh and sandalwood and a touch of suediness. So in that sense, this is probably one of the most complex florals among the collection that I've shared with you today, maybe with the exception of Black Iris, which I think can be incredibly complex as well. But this is a beauty of a fragrance. And I think that this is mass appealing in a way that Black Orchid has never been. Black Orchid, the original, this is a flanker of course. The original Black Orchid is incredibly polarizing. People love it or they are repulsed by it. But I've never met anyone who didn't like Velvet Orchid, at least in the air. Maybe people can't wear it, but this is one that is a compliment getter that people really, really enjoy. So one to get your nose on for reference, if nothing else. As with most of these fragrances, you may not like them all, but it's helpful to smell them and understand what they smell like to know if you like that kind of floral or not. Gem of a fragrance that I don't hear anyone talk about at all, and I'm not sure why. The line is, I think, discontinued. Again, you can still find it on discount sites and so forth. Keep your eye open for this. And you have to like rose. This is Magnolia Rose from the Maison Lancome line. I don't know why Lancome is discontinuing this line, or at least that's what I've heard. If you know different, let me know. I have a lot of these bottles and I love the beauty of the bottles and I love the fragrances in them. Magnolia Rose is exactly what it sounds like. It is magnolia and it is rose and musk for the most part, maybe a little hint of woodiness down in the deep dry down. But by and large, a really fresh, happy, almost sharp rose, like it's so fresh that it's a little sharp and maybe even a hint of greenness, but beautiful with that lovely white magnolia flower in there as well. It opens up really like a crisp rose and it calms down into this gorgeous rose magnolia, lightly musky fragrance, very feminine, very alluring, crowd pleasing, beast mode, goes on and on for days. I would say it even has a little bit of sweetness, a little hint of sweetness in the deep dry down. So if you're into that sort of scent, see if you can get your hands on this. I think it is simply gorgeous and an unsung hero of the floral fragrance world. Then a fragrance that some might argue belongs in either a musk category or some may even say it belongs in a fruity category. I don't really find this to be a fruity fragrance, but there are fruity aspects of it. It is Fleur de Orientica, which is inspired by Fleur Narcotique, which is a gorgeous fragrance. This is mainly a floral and musky and fruity fragrance, but to me, it's floral forward. I don't know if it's the suggestion with Fleur on the beginning of this, Fleur de Orientica, and then Fleur Narcotique, narcotic flower, of course, is what that translates into. I find that this is mostly a white floral that is fluffy, made fluffy by a musky note, and has supporting actors of a little bit of citrus and a little bit of fruit, mainly a peachiness, and a little bit of tartness from a lychee note, not overwhelmingly so, but enough to add some brightness to this. This is long lasting and gorgeous. You have to like fragrances that have a similarity to Love Don't Be Shy. I wouldn't say that this is like that, but it has aspects of that in terms of the musky and fluffiness of it, muskiness and fluffiness of it. But it's by and large a white floral supported by those other actors, like I said. And this bottle will run you somewhere in the $60 to $80 range, depending on where you pick it up. I know it's available on Amazon and you can find it on discounters, usually like fragrancenet.com and so forth. Worth getting your nose on if that combination sounds appealing to you. That one of the fragrances that I would talk about, some people consider to be cloying if you, well, even if you don't overspray, but definitely if you overspray. So this is a beautiful one. The nose behind it is Francis Kurkjian. It is Elie Saab Le Parfum. Le Parfum. Gorgeous fragrance. Heavily orange flower, African orange flower, but equally jasmine and made sweet and thick by honey. There's a little bit of patchouli in here. So it's white floral and it's syrupy thick from the honey and it's grounded, in my opinion, with that patchouli. But by and large, this is a sweet white floral that is like bombastic. It takes over a space. So you have to be careful how much you spray. It can really fill up a room and overwhelm people. So a spray or two of this, 3, at the most would be fantastic and fairly long lasting. Like I said, projecting and really great. This is a beautiful, elegant white floral on the mature side without seeming vintagey. This is definitely one that will have people coming in for one of those nostalgic types of hugs. Really pretty and affordable too. Check this one out. I'm going to round this video out with 2 of my most appreciated floral beauties in my collection. My favorite rose by far, you've heard me talk about this a number of times, is Initio's Atomic Rose. Atomic Rose. Wow, what a gorgeous, well-rounded rose fragrance. Beautiful, bright rose, deepened up by a pink pepper note, accompanied by a gorgeous, really slight citrus note, and made complex with the addition of a hedione and jasmine note. And hedione is close to jasmine and is said to have aphrodisiac properties. Who knows if that's true, but it's kind of fun to talk about it that way. And I love that this has a beautiful vanilla that sweetens and rounds this out, particularly as it begins to dry down on your skin. This is a beast mode fragrance that lasts all day. A few sprays will take you through. Be careful with this one. This one is a bit of a man killer kind of fragrance. And gentlemen out there, if you'd like to wear this, I bet it would have folks flocking to you as well. It's a little bit deceiving in that when you first spray it on, you might think this is just a rose fragrance. Well, give it a little bit of time to settle down and ask other folks how it smells on you. And I can almost, not 100%, because everyone's different, almost guarantee that it will be a well-loved fragrance on you. Now, if you don't like Atomic Rose or it doesn't work for you, that is perfectly fine. Let us know in the comments. This is just my opinion based on my experience with it. I do have some peers, some friends here on YouTube that just are not into this fragrance. Totally fine, but I hope that you'll try it out at least as a point of reference. And I will round out this video with my current favorite floral fragrance. And some might argue this does not belong in a floral video, but I'm putting it here because to me it's a floral fragrance. It is the absolutely stunningly gorgeous Accento Overdose from Xerjoff. The bottle is magnificent, one of the prettiest in my collection. But like I said, we're not here to talk about bottles. So Pure Poison, I'm looking at you. You're super pretty. Amouage Honor, you're gorgeous too. All these bottles are pretty, but this one, hello, look how beautiful this is. So I tell the story that I had a hard time with the opening of this when I first sprayed it and thought, whoa, what have I gotten myself into? Because it has this very distinct greenness as it opens that might be slightly off-putting for folks. It just wasn't what I was expecting. But as soon as that calmed down, which was seconds later, out came this gorgeous white floral melange of scents accompanied by some fruity notes as well. So the prominent floral in here is supposed to be jasmine. For me, it feels like a combination of white florals, almost like the beauty that is Flower Market, but just accompanied by some green notes and some fruity notes to sweeten this up. This is an absolute beast mode of a floral fragrance that will project and it will last on you forever. And I've said that if I renew my vows, this would be probably my fragrance of choice, if not maybe that Honor Woman or something like it, or maybe one of the ones in the Tuberose video because I love those too. I feel like this is just a luscious, really round, beautiful floral fragrance, like I said, with some touches of fruitiness, and it's just magnificent, a crowd pleaser, and makes me feel like I'm living my best life when I spray this on. I'd love for you to hear some thoughts from a special guest because us grown-ups here on YouTube have some impressions of fragrances that sometimes can be knocked down or tempered, if you will, humbled by the nose of youth. So I'm going to invite my son to share some opinions on these fragrances with you that may be diametrically opposed to what I have shared. And he's always got an interesting thing or two to say. So let's see what he's got to say about some of these fragrances.
Hello, guys. I'm equipped with the mic now. Microphone.
So I look orange next to you because I'm self-tan. This looks crazy, doesn't it? In case anybody's wondering what I look like without a tan, it's like that. I'm sorry, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Bryson. I am Veronica Says' son.
Okay, and you are how old?
I'm 14 years old.
Do you like most of the fragrances that I wear? You can be honest.
No.
How do I usually smell to you?
You don't smell good.
Okay.
You need to edit this out?
Oh, yeah. I'll edit. Okay, so I asked him to choose 4 fragrances that he would be interested in trying from this bunch and giving you his opinions on. So he's going to start with this one that he wanted to try, Fleur de Orientica.
Okay, so it's kind of like, I feel like you wouldn't be able to smell this unless you went up close to somebody.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that, let me smell it again. I would definitely smell this on somebody.
Put the microphone up to you.
Oh, even if I did smell this on somebody, I feel like I wouldn't really say, wow, this smells good. It kind of just smells like, like women's hygiene products, like soap and stuff.
Oh, so it doesn't smell bad? You said it doesn't smell
It doesn't
good.
smell bad, but it's not like memorable at all.
This is not memorable to you?
Not really.
Okay, so that's Fleur de Orientica. You heard it from the young man's mouth. Next, he wanted to try this one, Velvet Orchid. Okay.
Okay. I want to know what you think the appeal of that is.
I think it's a really beautiful fragrance. But what are your impressions? How would you describe it?
I certainly wouldn't describe it as beautiful. That's a little excessive.
But instead, you would describe it as
Sour?
sour? What does it remind you of?
Like Old Spice soap.
Old Spice? Really?
Yeah, like Old Spice deodorant.
Deodorant?
Not even Old Spice, because Old Spice is good. I don't want to diss them like that. I would say Axe deodorant. Like if Axe deodorant tried to make try to replicate Old Spice, it's just it smells cheap.
It smells cheap. Oh, okay. So he thinks this smells cheap. Next, he wanted to try Flower Market by Replica.
I think the bottle looks cool for all these.
Yeah, these look like medicine something or others.
I would say this smells like. I mean, what is it supposed to be?
Flower Market. It smells like a market of flowers, like a bouquet of flowers to me.
Well, I was gonna say something along the lines of flowers, but I mean, it kind of smells like every other fragrance. I mean, all the flower fragrances just smell the same.
You think they all smell alike? All the ones that I've shared with you smell alike to you?
No, but all the flower ones, like all the ones that are like, oh, flowers, oh, bouquet of flowers, flower markets, rose. I mean, they all smell the same.
Okay, so he also wanted to smell Pure Poison. Pure Poison.
I like this one. What's this supposed to be?
Apparently poison.
Oh, it's a Dior fragrance. I like Dior fragrances.
What's your favorite Dior fragrance?
Well, it's kind of basic, but it's probably the Sauvage one.
That's okay. It smells really good on you. Do you like that one?
Yeah, I do like this one. I don't really know what it's supposed to smell like, but all I can say is it does smell good. And then if I smell this on somebody, then I wouldn't not appreciate being around them.
You wouldn't not appreciate? What does that mean? Can you say that in a different way?
I would appreciate being around them.
So it's an easy fragrance to be around?
For sure.
Straight from the young man's mouth. Pure Poison. We started off the video with this one, Bryson, and I said that this was what I consider to be mass appealing, meaning a lot of people would enjoy it. Do you agree?
I think your point was proven. Yeah.
There you go. You heard it straight from the young man. And that concludes our video. Anything else you want to say?
Subscribe to you.
Aw, thank you, boo. All right, you all. Say bye.
Bye.
So friends, those are my picks for top florals that you just must try. Even if you don't buy them, even if you don't wear them, it's great to try these out and see what you think of them for reference because they're unique and interesting and statement fragrances, if you will. I really hope that you enjoyed this. Remember, drop down in the comments your must-try floral so that we can learn from you and maybe add to our own collection. So see you in the next video, my friends. Until then, mwah, take care of yourselves. God bless.